Just when we needed him the most, Alex Pereira puts it all on the line at 307. High elevation, Salt Lake City, anything can happen. A Muay Thai specialist in Khalil Roundtree who showed his heart, had some moments, dropped him at one point, head kicked him at one point. Did not matter. The stone hands himself, Alex Pereira. Just when we needed him the most. UFC stars were dropping like flies. Sugar O'Malley, Israel Adesanya, Leon Edwards, gone. Hope was at an all-time low. Was it going to be the year of the underdog? Not today. Not today. So what's next? 'Tis the question. I want to play out scenarios with you because it seems like he's bouncing between three divisions right now. Like he can really go anywhere. We're going to start at middleweight, which I think is the least likely of the three, is that he drops back down to middleweight and fights Dricus du Plessis. The problem with that is Dricus du Plessis is assumably fighting Sean Strickland. I heard rumors of January in LA. Seems like that's booked. He's not gonna fight Sean. If Sean wins that fight, I mean, him and Sean are training partners, the weirdest duo ever. They're now good buddies. A beautiful relationship. I love it. I'm a fan of it, but you can't imagine that he's gonna drop down and fight Sean. Say that's the case. If Dricus wins, I don't really care for that fight all that much. I'm not gonna be mad at it. But Alex at 205 just looks so special. If anything, I want him to go up, which brings up heavyweight. Could he go up to heavyweight? It'd be fun. The problem with that is the heavyweight division is a mess itself. You have John Jones and Stipe fighting in MSG in November. If John wins that fight, I mean, it seems like there's a good chance he's gonna retire, and if he doesn't, you have a guy sitting there with an interim belt, Tom Aspinall, who's been defending his interim belt. You have to fight Tom next. I don't think you can plug Alex Pereira, as fun as it would be. I don't think you can plug Alex Pereira into that equation. I think the only way that we see Alex Pereira in his next fight up at heavyweight is if John Jones wins and he retires with the belt, leaving Tom Aspinall. And that fight would be incredible. That would be the most ideal scenario if we're just talking Poatan up to heavyweight, because the heavyweight division's weird. I mean, if we're just looking at it, your top five in the heavyweight division: Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane, Alexander Volkov, Sergey Pavlovich, Curtis Blades. Tom has beat Volkov, Pavlovich, Blades. He's beat all of those guys already. The only one left to fight is Cyril Gane. Cyril's had 2 shots at the belt, and his last win was against Spivak, who's currently ranked 7. Maybe because we're already running out of options for Tom, who hasn't even held the undisputed yet. You throw him back in there for a 3rd title shot, but that doesn't seem right. I feel like in that case, you may go Poatan and just say, fuck it. Maybe let that division kind of heal itself out. Cyril gets another big win. Maybe Jalton Almeida can get a big win. But that's best case scenario at heavyweight. And then you have the most likely scenario of him staying at light heavyweight. I think everybody's already crowned Magomed Ankalaev. But Magomed has a fight. People aren't talking about the fact that Magomed has a fight booked at 308. Magomed is fighting this month. He's taking out Alexander Rakic, who, let's be honest, has lost his last 2, but his last 2 fights were to Jan Blachowicz and Yuri Prochazka. And in that Yuri fight, his last fight at 300, he was looking good. Rakic looked good. Dominated the first round. Ended up getting into a wild exchange that didn't go into his favor in the second, but he looked good. Like, this is no slouch that Magomed's going up against. I think the crowning on this guy is a little bit early. What happens if he loses? Can you give it to Rakic? I don't think so. I mean, that's a giant win over Magomed Ankalaev, but to just throw him directly into a title shot after that, when he's gonna be 1-2 in his last 3 fights, can you? I don't know. I think the sneaky one that people aren't talking about, there's another fight that may just be more exciting than the first. And it's happening on November 23rd at UFC Fight Night 248 in Macau. And it's Volkan Ozdemir versus Carlos Ulberg. Big spot for the fellas, especially Carlos Ulberg. Carlos Ulberg is currently ranked 10. I don't want to discount Volkan Ozdemir, but it's just more fun to think about it with Carlos Ulberg because the story is just so much better. Carlos Ulberg just broke into the top 15 with a 12-second knockout over Alonzo Menifield. He's now matched up with Volkan Ozdemir, but before this matchup came to light, the UFC was already ready to push Ulberg up the line. He was supposed to fight Jamal Hill at 303 after Khalil Roundtree spiked for whatever he spiked for and fell out of that. Jamal Hill ended up getting hurt, which then put Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prohaska into that position. But they were ready to push Carlos Oberg up the line. And that story's so special because where does Carlos Oberg fight out of? City Kickboxing. Who else fights out of City Kickboxing? Israel Adesanya. I'm just saying the story's good. That's all I'm saying is the story is good. It's going to be a massive spot in Macau for Carlos Oberg. Imagine the build to that fight. City Kickboxing back up against Poatan Pereira with a new face on the poster. The pretty boy, the blackjack, Carlos Oberg, Israel Adesanya in his corner. If there's anybody in the world that can teach you how to beat Alex Pereira, it's the fellas at City Kickboxing and Israel Adesanya. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I don't know what's going to happen. There's a world of opportunities in front of Alex Pereira. Every one of his fights is must-see TV. But we just don't know what's next. Could it be Tom Aspinall? Could it be Magomed Ankalaev? Could it be Carlos Oberg? I guess we'll find out.